Star Trek Picard, Jow's preview. I'm Jow, please subscribe to this channel. This is gonna be an indulgent video because it's just me talking. The moment I've been waiting for is a moment I realized I wanted more than anything else when I was walking out of Logan. Final Wolverine film, and also the final Patrick Stewart as Professor X. Can't they give us one more? Because they can't leave us on Nemesis. Much like how that movie Logan featured the two characters that were probably the most interesting in all the X-Men, this would feature the one character who's the most interesting in all of Star Trek, and that is Captain Jean-Luc Picard. But then there comes the trepidation that we all feel as our childhood has been slowly chipped away, one remake at a time, one reboot at a time. There's been good and there's been bad. For every Star Trek movie in 2009, we have the Into Darkness. For The Force Awakens, we then get the next two Star Wars movies. The most popular of the unpopular decisions would be the way they made Luke into a grumpy old man. And I think the reason that fell so flat was because we all were dying to see Luke as a full Master Jedi. Something we never saw in the original trilogy. We saw him coming to his own, and at the end he's a Jedi, and Yoda says you have to face Vader before you're truly a Jedi, and then he does, and series is over, and that's it. We don't get to see him in his prime. We get to see him broken down, and we don't know why. There'd be a worry that they would do that with Picard, but here's the difference. We saw Picard at his prime. We lived through Picard at his prime. Captain Picard, already at the top of his game. It is good that we're going to see something different because we've already seen him at his absolute best, at his absolute peak. This show is going to take place about 2 decades from Nemesis, which falls in line with where we are. That movie came out in 2002. It's 2020. There's going to be about that 18-20 year gap from there to here. What we know happened in the middle was in 2009 when the Star Trek movie came out, where there was the crisis and the black hole was going to suck up the whole galaxy. Romulus was destroyed, and that led to the Narada coming back and destroying the Kelvin, and that led to the split off in times, but that also was where this show is going to be a key point of this show and what carries on the continuation of that timeline from the destruction of Romulus. Also, he was the admiral of the fleet evacuating Romulus. And we know how that goes. We know that Romulus is destroyed early, so a lot of people ended up dying. And that was one of the first trepidations, was that everybody was under the assumption that Picard left Starfleet after that because he was very deeply hurt by that, which didn't ever seem very Picard to me. Why would a natural occurrence be something that would drive him away? That always troubled me about where this show was going. But then there was the other element you heard about, how he's still deeply affected by the death of Data. And that's what leads into some of the things we've seen through the trailers, like there are other Soong-type androids being created. You see him looking at what looks like the deconstructed B4. And then that leads us to what just recently was released on CBS All Access, which was Children of Mars. It's basically just a 6.5-minute music video set to heroes about 2 girls who are not really friends at a school, but their parents are both stationed on Mars. And at the end, you see that Mars is under attack from rogue synths. And you see all this footage of these ships coming and blowing up Mars that are operated by rogue synths, synthetic life forms, androids. So, what was said in The Measure of a Man? Someday, this man or someone like him is going to duplicate Data. What will we do to those people as a new race? Somewhere along the line, they as a new race went rogue. Were they being pushed to go rogue? That is all the things that we're going to find out in the Children of Mars. There's just a quick still up on the screen that shows Admiral Picard reacts, devastating. And it ends, the girls are holding hands, it's cute, whatever. But what you got from that is, now we have a reason why he would have left Starfleet, and one that makes sense. That something went wrong with the creation of the race of androids that led to them going rogue. And maybe he had to go in and start shooting them up or killing them with the task force that's on their way. Or maybe he's already gone. And because he's already gone, he's not happy with what's happened, because if you notice in the trailers, there's a shot of like the outside of a window and you see inside TVs and you see Picard talking. So is he a pundit? Was he already a pundit when you saw Admiral Picard reacts devastating, or was he still in Starfleet? Was he already out by that point because he wasn't happy about how the androids were being treated? Starfleet were to go away from its principles that led to something catastrophic happening that would make far more sense for his character. Gives me some level of hope. I know they have a comic book out that deals with him evacuating Romulus. Michelle Hurd is his first officer. The character in the show is his first officer in the comic books, and he's on a different ship in charge of the fleet, but that's his first officer now, and she was an intelligence officer. You see him kind of hanging around Romulans. And if you look at the character descriptions, one of the characters is like a warrior who's fiercely loyal to him. So he did something good on Romulus. He clearly did help a lot of those people. There was another piece that just came out, another little first look that looked like it showed a lot of the first episode of Picard just kind of hanging out in the vineyard, and it looks like he's living with a Romulan couple. I believe she was called Laris. This is what I'm hoping they don't do, because he's hanging out with a man and a woman, and I'm like, and the man says, Laris says she heard you talking in your sleep last night. And all I can help think of myself is, please do not put Jean-Luc Picard in a polyamorous 24th century reverse Rob Van Dam three-way relationship. Please don't do that. I don't care what anybody's sexual orientation is, but if they do that, the only reason they would be doing that would be for the agenda that everybody's going to be dumping all over. So please don't do that. Please don't have that be the case. What do I want to see? What I'm hoping for this series is slow. I have no problem with this show being slow. I want to see as much Jean-Luc Picard as possible, so I have no problem with it slowly plodding along. I'm sure there's going to be some explosions. I want to see as much acting chops from him as possible. I hope we see all the characters from the Next Generation at some point. I know we're going to see Data. It looks like flashbacks or dream sequences. We're going to see Riker. We're going to see Troy. I have to think at some point we're going to see Dr. Crusher, who is really on the TV show the only person who had a real relationship, as far as friend relationship, with Captain Picard was Dr. Crusher. And they were all friends and they were all very loyal to him, but she was the only one who called him Jean-Luc. Explain to me where he's been. I want to know about what's happened in the last 19 years, and I don't want to read a comic about it. Inform me of when he left the Enterprise and when he got a new ship, because it looks like he has a new ship in the comic book. So I guess they're going to stick with that. Inform me of where the other characters have gone. I'd like to know these things. I'd like to know the canonical reasons by where they've gone. And just don't suck. That's the top thing I ask, is don't suck. Don't make me turn this on and hate it. I can't take it. I'll have to jump off the roof of my house if it sucks. Please don't ruin Captain Picard for me. That's all I ask. That's all I ask, and I doubt I'll get any of it. But that's it. So that's my little preview of the show. If you can, find yourself a free code for All Access. They're out there. There are free codes out there for All Access. They always do promo codes. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I am going to be doing reviews of Picard. I'm going to hope to get them up as soon as I can after the episode airs. Hopefully it's like they've done in the past, where they do an 8:30 airing on the Thursday. Please subscribe to our channel. Until next time, I'm Joe. So the first thing I'm hoping for is that they canonize the greatest line in cartoon history, because we found out that his new number one is his dog, which means they can very easily canonize him saying, "Number one, I order you to take a number two."